All right, have and have not fans. Now we're going to slow things down for this video. It's no big theory. It's not an episode review. What I'm going to do is kind of sit back and just open up a discussion here. And I really want to get your thoughts on this because I'll put my 2 cents out there and hopefully the comment section will explode with different opinions on this. And this goes on to, I believe Landon asked a question to Candace in a recent episode after he was in her hotel room after she was released from jail thanks to Charles and his political team. And he pretty much brought up a question that a lot of us have been asking as fans for quite some time. What does Candace do to these men, or what is it about her that literally messes all these guys up, that makes it so they want her no matter what? I think the obvious answer is because she's so good and amazing at sex that it's just an addiction. I mean, that's most likely the answer to that question because this video doesn't even have to be 2 minutes long if it were that simple. But I want to dig in a little bit deeper, see if we can get past some of the layers of the situation to maybe think of it more of a psychological kind of aspect, as aside from Candace Young is just an amazing woman at that beautiful, great at sex, and that's what really makes her so appealing to these men. But I'm going to be honest here. I feel like if anything else, it's the psychological effect that she has on men that really makes her so irresistible. I feel like Jim Cryer is the prime example of this because not only was the sex amazing and she wasn't a bad sight for sore eyes, it's the fact that Jim saw Candace as an equal in the sense that he saw a lot of his own qualities in Candace as well as qualities that were kind of like a parallel to his own. I mean, they're both driven. They both are the type of people who know what they want and they'll do whatever it takes to get it. And not to mention, they were on the verge of pretty much risking it all to get what they wanted. For Candace, it was pretty much, using her body to get what she wanted from Jim, which was money and power. And when it comes to Jim, we can pretty much assume that it was a midlife crisis kind of thing where he had just turned 50 at the beginning of the show in episode 1. And he was just tired of living the life he is, pretty much sitting in a lap of luxury. And it was boring for him. But then Candace comes along and just makes him feel like a young man again. I think even Catherine pointed this out to Jim during the episode called Number 9 when she gave that famous monologue where she gave Candace the title Number 9. I just love that. But you look at people like Charles, and Charles, again, he even said how he has women all over the country, but there's nobody that has affected him the way that Candace Young has. Again, the sex itself, it seems like that's another big part of it. But in a lot of ways, Charles is almost a carbon copy of Jim to an extent, and the fact that he's a man on the verge of obtaining a very powerful position. For Jim, he was running for governor. For Charles, he's literally on his way to the White House. And again, I mean, you look at Charles, when you think about it, Charles is about to enter into the lifestyle that Jim was in for quite some time, a ruggedly handsome young man who is at the top of his game when it comes to the political platform. But then he realizes, oh wow, I'm going to win the election, I'm going to win the White House, but it's going to be so damn boring. So when you have a young thing like Candace come up into your life, who, remember, Charles told Landon that he isn't the clean cookie cutter guy that he seems to be now. He's had a past of his own and he transformed himself into this lifestyle, hence why he's so dead set on having Landon transform Candace into the lifestyle she's in now to being first lady material, because I guess in his mind it's like, look, if I can make this transformation based off my past, which we still don't know about yet, then Candace Young can do the exact same thing. I feel like Candace is kind of like, for those of you who watch The Flash, Iris West is kind of like Barry Allen or The Flash's lightning rod that keeps him constant. I feel like Candace would have been that for Charles in terms of, hey, you know what? When I win the election, when I'm in the White House and I'm president, it's going to be an entirely different life from what I'm living now. Sure, his life on the political campaign, I'm sure it's kind of different from what he's accustomed to. But when he makes that full-scale transformation into the White House as president, it's going to be completely different. I feel like Candace is kind of like his anchor in terms of, okay, if there's any piece of my old life that I want to bring with me, I want it to be Candace Young. So I feel that's another reason that Charles is so dead set on having Candace be the first lady, despite all these other women that he claims to have all over the country, which I don't doubt. So when I really think about it, I feel like, you know, Candace means more to Charles and Jim than just like a sexual object. I mean, it's about their old lifestyles. For Charles, it's like, look, I need something from my old life to come with me as I make a transition into my new lifestyle. Whereas Jim Cryer was like, at least during the beginning seasons, Candace Young was a reminder of being young, wild, free, as James Brown said, like a sex machine, pretty much like that. So I really do feel Jim and Charles are prime examples of Candace is indeed an intoxicating woman in a good and bad way. But I feel like the thing that really draws them to Candace more than the sex, more than her good looks, is just her attitude, her feistiness, the fact that she isn't submissive like a lot of the other women that I'm sure they've had in their past. I mean, we know Jim has had a slew of affairs. We know Charles has women pretty much around the country on call. Whenever he goes at a different campaign stop, it wouldn't surprise me if he has 2 or 3 women, you know, just waiting at his beck and call. So I think another good point is when Landon was trying to take his shoes off. We know it meant something more in terms of what Landon was planning to do. But I did like the symbolism of Landon pointing out that, Charles, you know, if you're not comfortable with me taking off your shoes, then you're not going to be comfortable as president, where everyone is going to be more than willing to wait on you hand and foot. But again, Candace Young is that one person who isn't going to be submissive like all these other women out there. I mean, Charles is a person, and Jim Cryer again. Wow, maybe I should have made this video title something along the lines of comparing Jim and Charles and their relationship with Candace Young. But those 2 men are powerful men who are used to getting what they want, because they're surrounded by people who do not tell them no. But when you have somebody who stands up to them, who doesn't give a damn about the kind of person they are in terms of their power, their position, their money, Candace Young is that person. So I mean, this video is actually a little bit shorter than I thought it would be. I thought it would be like a 20-minute discussion, but based off how well this video does, I might do a live stream. But the more I just thought about it, I was looking at my script right here, but this point really it really just caught my attention just now. Candace Young and her ability to stand up for herself, her attitude where she's not going to submit to anyone, no matter who they are, how powerful they are. She's going to be Candace Young. I mean, in a way, you could say Candace is, what's that phrase? I can be whoever you want to be whenever I need to be. Or I don't know. Somebody correct me in the comments. Somebody said this in like a movie. I think it was a TV show, The Game. Robin Gibbons said that to Malik Wright. It's like, I'm whatever I need to be whenever I need to be it. I think that's the right quote. I feel like Candace is definitely like a chameleon of sorts, where she can adapt to her situations. But at the core of it, Candace Young is Candace Young. And I feel like even though there is a lot to hate about her character, that is the one thing constant about Candace Young. So with that being said, I definitely feel that this video could lead to a healthy discussion, and I want to get your thoughts below. What do you feel makes Candace Young so irresistible to all these men? Not just Jim and Charles, but I feel like those 2 are the main topics of this video, because they've really had a lot of screen time with Candace. I mean, there's plenty of other men, I'm sure, in the past that have had similar effects from Candace Young. I would love to maybe if we get more Quita in the series in the upcoming season beginning May 1st, and we get sort of more history between Quincy and Candace, I would love to do a video on them, because I could do a video on them, you know, within the next couple of weeks. But I really feel like we need to dig deeper into the backstory of how those 2 got together, their abusive relationship, how they had Quincy Jr. I feel like we need to get more information on that before I can make a full-fledged discussion. So again, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, because as I've said many times, the haves and the have-not review, this channel is still going on despite the show being on a break. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Share this video around, and Tinka Sumner, if you're listening, love you as a character on the show. I hope you find peace as Candace Young. And if you're listening, I really hope to get your input. If you can like hit me up on Twitter or something, because I'll send you a link to this video. Why do you think that Candace Young is so irresistible?